Alright, so what exactly is a 1-2 punch? This is when the top two roller coasters at any given theme park are considered top tier quality, creating the TKO of thrills, I guess. Many parks have a good coaster collection, but having a great coaster collection is more rare. In this video, I'll be discussing my favorite collection of top two roller coasters, or their 1-2 punches. Honestly, that phrase is like a tongue twister saying it over and over. Anyways, there are still some great parks out there that have an incredible top two, but won't be featured on this list because I haven't been there yet. I like to speak more from experience than speculation, but anyways, on to the list. Kennywood with Steel Curtain and Phantom's Revenge. My home park. I debated if these two attractions deserve a mention on today's list. I think Phantom's Revenge is a top tier attraction, but the jury is still out on Steel Curtain. Phantom's Revenge is a great hypercoaster that provides a one-of-a-kind experience. The largest drop is not the first, but second, as you dive through the structure of Thunderbolt. The layout is a little short, but during its 3,200 feet of track, riders are subjected to multiple moments of insane pops of ejector airtime. The ride's use of terrain is also another reason why this coaster is so great. It's extremely rare to have a true terrain hypercoaster. Steel Curtain is completely different from Phantom. The ride's agenda is all about inversions, as it currently has 9, the most inversions on any roller coaster in North America. The reason why I wasn't sure if this coaster met the requirements for a 1-2 punch is that it's really polarizing. I'd say that most who ride say this is a good roller coaster, but not top tier. After many rides this past summer, I'm inclined to bump this coaster up into that top tier category, but understand why some might be disinclined to say the same. The layout is very unusual, creating an almost ugly yet artistic structure that demands to be stared at all day. The ride only gets better as it goes on. The final 3 inversions are what I consider to be the best part of this looping roller coaster. Busch Gardens Tampa with Montu and SheiKra. This park's top 2 is debatable. I know some would go with Cheetah Hunt, which is a great roller coaster, but its restraints hold it back in my eyes for being 1-2 punch worthy. SheiKra, a dive coaster by B&M, is currently the tallest operating roller coaster in the park. Once Iron Gwazi opens next spring, this list will be moot, but for now, SheiKra can hold onto the crown as the biggest and baddest roller coaster at Busch Gardens. Diving straight down is always intimidating, especially when you are held in that vertical position for a few seconds. The theming on this ride is also another reason why I think it's top tier. As of right now, this is my favorite dive coaster. Montu, which is at the opposite end of the park, is an inverted roller coaster by B&M. This ride is all about intensity. SheiKra is currently my favorite dive coaster, and Montu, well, it's my favorite inverted roller coaster. Montu will hit you up with inversions, snappy elements, near-miss moments, and great use of terrain. The ride is also butter smooth, which means marathoning won't leave you with a throbbing headache. Kentucky Kingdom with Lightning Run and Storm Chaser. This park may only have 6 roller coasters, but its top 2 are phenomenal. Lightning Run, which opened first in 2014, is loaded with great airtime moments and crazy snappy maneuvers. This ride is action-packed from the moment you complete that first drop right to the final brake run. Storm Chaser is yet another strong airtime machine. It basically takes everything from Lightning Run and turns it up to 11. Add a couple inversions and you have yourself a top-tier RMC. The only thing that holds this 1-2 punch back from being the best is how similar these two roller coasters are. Storm Chaser is basically a faster, more forceful version of Lightning Run. Even still, both coasters are incredible and each stand alone as a reason to visit Kentucky Kingdom. A little side note, if you rope drop Kentucky Kingdom, head straight for Lightning Run, as this roller coaster consistently has a longer line than Storm Chaser, which is in the back of the park. Six Flags New England with Superman the Ride and Wicked Cyclone. My first time riding Superman the Ride was in 2019, meaning I never got to experience this roller coaster in its heyday, back when it had the traditional T-bar restraints. The layout is airtime focused, but still delivering variety. Superman is the best hypercoaster outside of B&M. I wouldn't be surprised to hear if you considered it the best hypercoaster of all time because, well, it's that good. It has ejector airtime, nice sustained airtime, high speeds, fun interactions, basically everything you want from a hypercoaster. Wicked Cyclone serves as a nice complement to Superman because it brings more variety. Sure, they both have that focus of airtime, but Wicked Cyclone goes at it differently. This RMC hybrid has snappy elements, 3 inversions, weird outer bank turns, and crazy ejector airtime. Six Flags New England has a total of 12 roller coasters, well, most likely 11 here soon, but anyways, the other roller coasters come nowhere near the quality of their top 2. This is why you'll see me at this park hopping back and forth between these 2 great roller coasters. Busch Gardens Williamsburg with Griffin and Apollo's Chariot. Here's another 1-2 punch that will most likely be different in a few months once Pantheon opens, but until then, Griffin and Apollo's Chariot will do. Apollo's Chariot is a hyper roller coaster by B&M that's all about the floater airtime. The layout is a simple out and back, pummeling riders with airtime hill after another. Apollo doesn't rank as high amongst the other B&M hypers, but it's still a great attraction that could be marathoned all day long. Griffin, the slightly larger sibling of SheiKra, serves as a nice change of pace from Apollo's Chariot. The ride does have great airtime with its 2 vertical drops, but the pacing is more subdued and 2 inversions makes this a different animal. If you're looking for a coaster with a little bit more bite, I could see you going with Alpengeist and an inverted roller coaster by B&M. The reason why I went with Griffin is that Alpengeist has 2 bad transitions that can make you think twice before riding multiple times. While Griffin, I could just hop off and get right back in line. If those 2 transitions don't bother you, then I'm sure Alpengeist would serve as a great sidekick or second punch to Apollo's Chariot. Six Flags Great Adventure with King Ka and El Toro. I know that some will say that the real 1-2 punch is Jersey Devil Coaster or Nitro along with El Toro, but let me explain. King Ka is completely different from El Toro, focusing on intensity, while Jersey Devil and Nitro are basically airtime machines. Regardless, I'd still accept any of these 4 coasters for my 1-2 punch. El Toro is ranked as one of the best wooden roller coasters on the planet, and for good reason. Its first drop is the best, providing insane ejector airtime for those in the back row. This coaster provides some of the best sustained ejector on any roller coaster out there. The ride has gotten a little rough over the years, but it hasn't stopped this attraction from being great. King Ka, a hydraulic launching roller coaster, is currently the tallest roller coaster on the planet. It has held that record for 16 years now and has no real contender to take that mantle away anytime soon. The ride is all about intensity. It has that powerful launch followed by bone-crushing G's after falling 418 feet back to Earth. The ride's real negative is that nasty rattle, though I hear it's greatly reduced the closer you sit towards the front. Carowinds with Copperhead Strike and Fury 325. Having Copperhead a part of the 1-2 punch may be debatable, but I think it's clear that Fury 325 is the other pick regardless. Fury is one of the best coasters on the planet. It has speed, airtime, crazy fast maneuvers, and interactions. This is the pinnacle of B&M. Copperhead Strike changes gears by focusing on hang time, airtime, snappy turns, and inversions. It also has 2 launches, but they aren't the best, but yeah, still make this a standout attraction. The theming is a step up for Cedar Fair. Hopefully we'll see more attractions like this in the near future. Carowinds has a collection of 14 roller coasters. I would argue that 4 of them are top tier, then the rest start to drop in quality. Depending on your taste, Afterburn, Intimidator, or maybe even Nighthawk could work its way into your top 2 at the park, but again I repeat, Fury will always be at the top, unless you're crazy or something. Hersheypark with Stormrunner and Candemonium. I know, I picked the wrong top 2. Most of you would say it's Stormrunner and Skyrush, maybe Fahrenheit or Great Bear, but not me. I think Candemonium is a solid hypercoaster and serves well as second fiddle to Stormrunner. They both complement each other by focusing on different aspects. Stormrunner is a hydraulic launch roller coaster by Intamin Amusement Rides. This ride is all about intensity. It may have some airtime, but its primary focus is that launch, snappy maneuvers, and inversions. Candemonium is a hyper roller coaster by B&M, meaning this ride is all about airtime, fun floater airtime. It may have a couple pops of ejector, but overall this ride will have you floating in your seat, laughing the entire way back to the station. Cedar Point with Steel Vengeance and Maverick. This is yet another park that's really hard deciding which two coasters will compose of the 1-2 punch. I think most will agree that Steel Vengeance should be on that list, but the second slot gets iffy. I went with Maverick, but I could hear great arguments for Top Thrill Dragster, Millennium Force, heck, even Valraven or Raptor. Oh, and those weird ones that will say Magnum is the best coaster in the park, I guess it could be considered as well. Cedar Point has 16 roller coasters, with half of them being considered top tier or close to that level. Steel Vengeance is the king of airtime, delivering more airtime than any other roller coaster on the planet. It's a long ride that pummels you with great elements right after another. Just when you think the best part of the ride is behind you, Steel Vengeance surprises with more great moments. Maverick, though it does have some great airtime, provides a more rounded experience. The layout is forceful, making me gray out, something that Steel Vengeance rarely does. The fast-paced elements, snappy transitions, 2 inversions, and 2 launches make Maverick the top-tier coaster that it is. Kings Island with Orion and Diamondback. The top 2 will be debatable, and I'm sure I stepped on some toes by omitting Mystic Timbers, but to me the big contenders are Diamondback and Orion. The 2 giant B&Ms create the 1-2 punch at this park. Orion, a giga coaster that just opened in 2020, delivers an incredible first drop, high speeds, vertigo-inducing heights, and fun elements. This is just an overall great roller coaster that serves kind of like the greatest hits compilation of the B&M Hyper/Giga models. Diamondback, a hypercoaster, focuses solely on airtime. Starting with its first drop right through that dip down into the splashdown, Diamondback is all about that floater airtime. A couple of the airtime moments may be more intense than others, but expect to be floating out of your seat for seconds at a time. For those who argue that Mystic Timbers should be a part of this duo, I can't disagree. Mystic Timbers is a great airtime machine with a fast-paced layout. The reason why I went with the 2 B&Ms is if I was forced to pick 2 roller coasters to only ride all day, I'd have to go with Diamondback and Orion. They're just so much fun. No long pointless parts while sitting inside of a shed. King's Dominion with Intimidator 305 and Twisted Timbers. This is probably one of the best 1-2 punches at any theme park. Both roller coasters are completely different, yet rank amongst the best on the planet. Intimidator 305, or I-305 for short, has to be the most intense roller coaster on the planet. That turnaround after the first drop is guaranteed to make you gray out. The rest of the ride never lets up, pummeling you with bone-crushing forces, snappy transitions, and I do mean snappy. I swear this ride is trying to snap your neck with its crazy turns. Now, I will say this, if you aren't a fan of crazy intense rides, then I-305 is not for you. But if you love intensity, then chances are you might consider it to be the best coaster on the planet. Twisted Timbers, which is a hybrid roller coaster by Rocky Mountain Construction, focuses on one thing: airtime. It goes about it multiple ways, but yeah, a stark difference from the out-of-control Speed Demon at the other end of the park. Twisted Timbers has incredible airtime, snappy transitions, and 3 inversions. The ride is like a bucking bronco trying to eject you out of your seat. If you can handle the intensity, then these 2 roller coasters work well with each other, and I could see myself bouncing back and forth all day long. Well, that's going to wrap up today's video. I know I left out some great 1-2 punches, but again, I haven't ridden them all. What park has your favorite 1-2 punch? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please click on that like button and subscribe. That way you continue to get great content brought to you by Extreme Thrills.